Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about belting. So we're going to start with a basic warm-up and I'm going to just kind of get you prepped. We're not going to do too much in our mix today, but I'm going to give you a couple tricks that are really great for helping you to call your belt or warm up your belt in ways that are going to make it take some of that tension out of the throat and make it less fatiguing for you. So as we get started, make sure, of course, that you're going to start head on top of shoulders, on top of hips, and that you're all in line, your spine is totally in line. And we're gonna start with that breath just to kind of get ourselves centered and make sure that all of the musculature is energized and working together. So exhale first, fill up, and expand into those hands. Make sure that you're feeling that expansion down and low around your core. Let's try to exhale one more time. And fill up, and hold it firm. And one long hiss. And let it go. Good. Exhale one more time. Fill up. Hold it firm. And let's pulse this time. Great. Right here, we're going to start with a bubble. Bubbles are great because they force you to not overbreathe. It's really easy to overbreathe, and all of that air is going to be very fatiguing to your vocal folds because they're little pieces of tissue. They have a mucus, a healthy mucus in between them that's going to help keep them lubricated, but if you breathe and overbreathe and overbreathe and overbreathe, you're going to get very dry very quickly. So we want to start with those bubbles. That's going to help us control how much air that we take in and make sure that the diaphragm is doing its work in helping to support that good sound. So we're going to start right here, and we're going to use those bubbles. Now, if anytime you can't get those bubbles going, I had a really hard time for many years getting those bubbles going. Usually it's because you're taking too big of a breath and it all has to come out somewhere. But if you can take a small breath, starting with an exhale, and just open your mouth, there's a vacuum that happens, and that's how much air you need, only that much. So let's start that. Exhale first. Now as we go through these, the bubbles are very quiet, so you're just gonna hear me playing along, and then just find that in your octave. Here we go. Down into the chest voice. G-A-I-L-A warm up to help you get your tongue nice and loose and relaxed. In this time of quarantine, I've experienced a lot of tension and clenching myself in my jaw and my tongue, and so I want to make sure that all of that is nice and relaxed. You can start with the bubbles. You can start with the lip roll, and just make sure that that tongue is not retracting into the back of your throat. So right here, we're gonna go gala, 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 gala. And you're gonna check yourself. You're gonna make sure that your jaw is not doing the work, because over time that's gonna cause more tension. So we wanna have a nice relaxed mandible, that little hinge here. So take a second and just relax that and make sure that's nice and loose. And then as you go, gala, 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 gala. Thumb right there on your chin to make sure that you're not doing everything with your jaw. Here we go. Let's go down first. Gala, 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 gala. 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 pressure yet. We're not mixing, we're not blending, we're not belting. We're warming up the tongue. So let's take that up, and I want you to feel that the tongue is doing the work here for you. It's gonna help you keep that tone nice and forward. Gala, 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 gala. Keep it light. Gala, 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 gala. 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 Gala, 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 gala. All right, so warming up into our mix now. To go into your full head voice. It's important because we need to use some head voice to get that mix that's going to then lead us into the belt. So don't discount your head voice in this work. As we go. Breath in through your nose before you start each one. Ready to start belting. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. 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 Just rumble. Yo, 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 yo. The deeper you go, yo, 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 yo. Just get it out. Your vocal folds are pieces of tissue, right? So the longer and skinnier that they get, that's what's happening on our high notes. We want to stretch them like pieces of taffy. But when we go down into our low notes, we want to get them into this sort of fat, floppy shape down to rumble those low notes. So the lower you go, you may not be able to get a sound out that you would necessarily use for an audition, but the more that you bring those vocal folds down to very loose, very flaccid, very kind of chubby, relaxed form, that's going to help you get more usable chest voice notes. So let's do that one more time. I'm just going to start around here. Just go ahead and fry those bottom ones and see if you can get any sound out at all. Yo, 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 yo. So I know we're all in quarantine. It may be a moment that you want to warn your roommates, warn your family and let them know that you're gonna be making some ugly sounds, because we have to. We have to make ugly sounds in order to get at that belting sound, just to get those notes out, because we're just practicing. We're not trying to make a pretty sound right now, we're trying to get the power, trying to get the placement. Over time, we'll come back and we'll refine that with our mouth shape and bringing the corners of the mouth in, going from yeah, bringing the corners of the mouth in to make that sound a little sweeter and a little more palatable, adding that vibrato. But right now, I need you to forgive yourself for making ugly sounds, because that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a lot of nasals right now, so that you're gonna feel it here in these bones, sometimes called the nasal mask. And we're gonna use a very ugly, very witchy, very sound that's gonna use those bones of the top of your mouth. If you say it right now, you can feel the sound going into the roof of the mouth. So let's do that same 1, 3, 5, 3, 1 on a yeah. Now the tongue's gonna do the work. That's why we did that warm up with the gaila. Make sure your jaw is not getting involved. We don't want it to tip up or tip down. Keep it nice and neutral. And hopefully you were able to get that pretty easily. If you're having trouble, I'm going to bring it down to the middle. Think about putting in your thumb to the side of your mouth. So that you realize the jaw doesn't have to be involved at all. What happens is if you tip your jaw up or overextend and tip it down, that bone actually is going to press on your larynx, which is inside your vocal tract, and those two things together cause the tension. So we want to make sure that that jaw is loose, relaxed, neutral, does not get involved at all. So let's try this, and let's have your thumb turned to the side. Sometimes people use a cork in that side there, but the thumb is just as easy. So if we're here, to feel where it's going to be placed. Good. Okay, so then we're going to do a couple things to help us transition our speaking voice into the singing voice. So we're going to do this phrase, oh no you don't. And remember that the belt is an extension of your speaking or your calling voice. Oh no you don't. Oh no. So when you shout that out, if you say it to yourself right now, oh, hey, yo, and you're shouting something out, you'll feel how your body naturally wants to support that sound. Oh, no, you don't. And how the consonants at the beginning help you pop that sound forward and get that sound to have power behind it. So when we say things like, oh, no, you don't, oh, no, you don't, and then we can transition them to the pitch. Oh, no, you don't, oh, no, you don't. Belting a little bit easier. The other thing that's happening is you're naturally taking in a quick breath, as we know to do. If you've ever held a baby while they're crying, you know that when they're about to really let loose with those wails, they take this huge shuddering breath, and you know they're about ready to scream and cry, and they never lose their voices. We're born knowing how to cry for hours. Obviously, if you've ever held a crying baby that has never gotten tired or lost their voice, and you know that their little tummies expand and they're very firm as you're holding them. So we want to take that quick breath and feel how it makes your whole core expand. So we're going to lean into that sound. As we go back and do these on May I Come In. May I come in, may I come in, may I come in, One more time. One more time. Come right in. Come right in. Come right in. Don't you dare. Now, you is a weird word to say on a belt because we have to modify it a little bit so that the shape of it comes out. It starts to not really sound like the word anymore, and that's okay. We're just gonna modify it a little bit. If you've ever listened to the Mean Girls soundtrack and that famous song, I'd Rather Be May, we know that we have to modify the mouth shape a little bit to get that power to come out. So we're gonna say, don't you dare, don't you dare, don't you dare. Now, sometimes we have big jumps, so let's switch over to this pattern. You never do that. The hardest part actually is not hitting that high note, but the middle ones, you never do that. They want to go to a mix, and we have to get them right into that chest voice. So don't be afraid to press. Your vocal folds have pressure to make any sound. When you have a open phase, they're apart and they're just vibrating, they're not touching each other. When we have a medium pressure, hey, they're touching. When we have a glottal pressure, hey, they hit percussively. So we're gonna try to use a little more pressure to make sure that the chest voice comes out strongly without any mix in those low notes. You're gonna feel vibration in the throat, not tension, but vibration. You're gonna feel sensation. There's no way to totally remove sensation. So we should feel that vibration. You might even wanna put your hand here on your clavicle and feel that vibration happening there. You never. So we wanna go ahead and put that pressure. Do that. And let's take it down and try that. You never do that. You never do that. You never do that. So now let's try taking it up. Let's switch it to may I come in. May I come in. May I come in. May I come in. Come right in. One more time. Don't you dare. Never, never, no. So let's try that one. Right in the middle here. Never, never, no. Full chest voice. Sharp breath. Never, never, no. Never, never, no. Never, never, no. So make sure we're not going into head voice at all. We're all through the break. We're gonna belt all of this. Sharp breath. Never, never, no. Never, never, no. Never, never, no. One more. Never, never, no. All right, so now one of the problems is when you are belting at a high pitch, you're stuck there. You're in this full volume because you do need full volume to get a nice belt to come out nice and strong. But then you're stuck there at this volume, and that's what can be very fatiguing. If you've ever sung Astonishing, You'll Be Back, any of those songs that are very high and they're belted all the way through, you start to feel like little sections of it that you prepared weren't tiring, but now you're exhausted and you can't even make it through the phrases. So we want to make sure that we can mix out of that belt so we don't get stuck up at that volume. And otherwise, it's very fatiguing to the audience, to their ears. Nobody wants to hear you scream your monologue for 3 minutes. Nobody wants to hear you sing a song belted for 3 minutes. You have to have some levels. So our job here, we're gonna start, these are C's. We're gonna go up and slide, hey. You're gonna make sure that your tummy is pushing out. Hey, and it's not gonna let go till you're finished. And then as you get up to that high chest voice, as you get up to that high belted sound on the top one, you're gonna mix out of it. And the way you're gonna do that is just to push it forward. Hey! And work these belly muscles like crazy. All right, so let's try this exercise. Hey! Yeah, let's take it up. 1/2 step. Sharp breath. Hey! Yeah, you're in control. One more. Hey! Yes. Right here. Belting. Now, if you're having trouble getting that mix to happen, we want to use the nasal. Na 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 na. 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 The more nasal and bright that you keep it, and ugly, that sound, that witchy sound, is going to help you place it so that you don't have any click into your break and you're not going to have any tension for your belt. So now as I go up, na 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 na, I'm just going to bring the corners of my mouth in. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. And then I'm just going to split the difference to make it be a pretty sound. Na na